Our next and final guest panelist staff is Tyler. Can you pronounce your?
Wilfley.
Tyler Wilfley. Okay. Tyler is a permaculture designer with a master's degree in sustainable business. He is currently the director of the program in ROA at MIU and is also co-founder and farmer manager for Oceanside Organics, a regenerative farm in coastal Florida.
I've always said that one of the challenges with a place like MIU is that sometimes it can feel like you're flying a plane as you're building it. But the opportunity with MIU is that you get to fly a plane. And I think that with the Regenerative Agriculture program, sometimes it's felt like we're trying to fly a plane as we're trying to build the plane, as we're trying to figure out what type of plane it is. And I think that in a lot of ways, a couple things that I've taken away from the entire experience, especially as director, the first thing was that I understood pretty quickly that my role as the director really wasn't about having all of the knowledge. It wasn't about having all the competency, because I knew I didn't have it. I knew that, luckily for me, I was surrounded by a lot of people that knew a lot more than I did. But what I did need to be able to do was to try to work with us to set a higher standard, and to have the courage to try new things and the resilience to take the hits when mistakes were made and those things didn't work out. I think that's kind of what you have to do if you're trying to blaze a new trail, as we've been working on doing for the last 7 years now. And I think that, what really helped me a lot from a very genuine place was that I really loved the team that I was a part of. And so I've never looked at my role as being kind of like the leader or anything like that. I'm not foolish enough to think that. I've always seen it as a chance to support the community of people around me that I really love. And I think that that was just a very powerful, motivating force throughout all of the challenges that have come over the last, I guess almost 5 years now that I've been here. But also too, I think that, I was nervous to say this when I first became the director, but I don't have any formal education in agriculture, and I did not grow up on a farm. And in a lot of ways, I think that a lot of what's motivated me with this program is knowing that you need to have living laboratories like this for young people if they're going to pursue a career in this field. Because when you have people if you think about it, it's like the average age of a farmer now is something like 65. So what does the next generation of farming look like? And how do you get all these young people that maybe don't come from farms into that field? And I think that you really need to have living laboratories and educational centers like this that facilitate that learning process. If I'm being honest, I feel like it is much easier for me to look around at this farm and remember all the mistakes I made more so than the successes. But I think that you have to have a place like this that absorbs that risk and provides that opportunity for young people, because I learned so much here that now all of a sudden when I went out and did my own thing, I actually felt a lot more competent. And I think that one of the cool things about our program is that in a lot of ways, I've always kind of felt like I was one of the pioneer students, because like I said, I didn't kind of come into this. I learned how to farm from marginalized hill tribe people in northern Thailand. I knew about tropical trees and biofertilizers, and that was really it. My first day on the farm as the intern, I remember walking with Chris, and I tried to tell him, I was like, I know about tropical trees and, indigenous microorganisms, but market gardening and all this was pretty new to me. And he told me, he's like, that's fine. Why don't you just go and start on the arugula and, we'll come check on you. And I had to admit to him that I had no idea what arugula even looked like. But I think that, part of what our program does really well is that it is not preparing, I don't think it's really meant to just prepare people to be an employee. If you want to be an employee at Cargill and help them understand their initiatives for regenerative agriculture and everything, that's great. And I think that opportunity is there, but I appreciate that our program, I think, facilitates entrepreneurship a lot more so than just being an employee, because this is a new frontier. It is going to need people that have the courage and the resilience to try new things and learn as they go and make the mistakes and take the hits and just keep pushing forward. I think that there's this great saying that you should try to find work that you're willing to do even if you're failing. And I have found that to be very, very true with farming. It's one of those things that, Diego mentioned earlier, and it gave me something to think about why regenerative agriculture, why farming. And if I have to think about it now, deep down, I don't honestly think that I really am doing it because I think it's noble or anything. I'm doing it because I love it. I would do it every single day, even if I was failing. I appreciate and think that it feels good because it feels right, because it is kind of a more holistic way to approach agriculture. But at the end of the day, it is just me getting my hands in the dirt, getting to be a part of a system, and trying to compose and orchestrate the creation of this kind of the manifestation of nature's intelligence over time. And that to me is just a very dynamic, engaging process and experience to get to have. And so I think that especially for young people, this is a really great opportunity to think about what type of life you want to have. It's not about getting a job. It's like, what type of lifestyle do you want? And, for me, I'm just really, like, this today is the culmination of 7 years of really hard work by a very small group of people. I remember 3-4 years ago, I remember Steve running this entire program during COVID, basically by himself. I remember me and Chris in the field at 5 a.m. with headlights on the field so we could see what we were doing. Because at that point we had so few staff members that it's like, if we don't get it done now, it's not getting done. But to think about what it's become now, and to see people like Abby and Muna and Dean and Ashley standing on the shoulders of the people that came before them and making this place better than it's ever been, even just to be a part of that is deeply, deeply fulfilling. And so for that reason, the short answer is it's been great.